What's up, guys? It's Gramps, and today we're going to be starting a brand new series here on the channel. It's going to be focused around just Nintendo news, leaks, rumors. It's something I'm trying to do on probably like a bi-weekly or weekly basis. Still don't have a title for it. We got a working title for now. I've kind of been thinking something like, I don't know, Joy-Con Journal. I don't know, something along those lines. I want something catchy. If you guys got any suggestions, drop in the comments down below. But the big thing to talk about today is, it's been on everybody's minds for a while now, is are we going to have a February Direct? We've got sources saying that there is going to be a February Direct, probably within this upcoming week. And we've got sources that say they have no confirmation whatsoever. And these are reliable sources in the past. So let's take a look at these. First, right here, we've got PHBrazil. PHBrazil is a reliable source. He gave us information about for August of last year, and this is from earlier today, this morning, as you can see. And he said he talked overnight with his source, asking for reassurance, like not unlike how everyone this thread does, of a direct this month. And he says that it still is going to happen, and putting it out there. We'll see if that comes into fruition. I'd like to believe that we are going to have a February Direct. We've been having a February Direct for years now, and usually the February Directs are big ones. But on the other hand, we've got Nate the Hate here from this article from My Nintendo News saying that he isn't sure if a February Direct is happening or not. And Nate the Hate is a big one, man. If you don't know, Nate the Hate was originally one of the people that was claiming that we were going to see the Switch 2 reveal trailer on the date it occurred, which I don't remember exactly what the date was, but he kept like pretty much spamming it everywhere that we are going to get the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal on that day. And when the day before, we didn't get an announcement of a direct or anything, or some type of presentation giving us pretty much saying, hey, we're going to have this showcase presentation, whatever, short little presentation tomorrow. Tune into it from Nintendo. He was getting a bunch of hate and still said, guys, trust me, it's happening tomorrow. And he did not lie. We saw that day, that morning, Nintendo pretty much shadow dropped that trailer. So he's a credible source, and he even isn't sure if it's happening or not. Somebody added him on Twitter and said, asking pretty much if he has anything to share about a Nintendo Direct happening in February. And he said he had nothing to share, and he's currently in the dark about whether a February Direct will happen or not. And like I said, I think it's pretty much a shoo-in to happen. It's inevitable when a Nintendo Direct happens in February. I mean, just look at this. We're on the archive of Nintendo Direct history. We had the partner showcase in February of last year. This is where Endless Ocean was shown at the end. Not too crazy, but you know, still we got a February Direct. In 23, we got a February Direct. This one, we saw the launch trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, and I believe we saw one other big thing. I have it written down in my notes here, so I'm taking a look. Oh yeah, I think we got I think this is where we got GBA for online, which was pretty big. In 22, we got a February Direct, and I believe let me just go back in to make sure. Yep, this is where we got the Strikers announcement. We got Switch Sports, Xenoblade 3, and Booster Course Pass. Like, that was an insane Direct. Pretty much, it's a shoo-in that we're going to get a February Direct. I mean, like, didn't we get one in 21 too? We got one in 21. Did we get one in 20? 20. 19, did we get one? 19, we got not only the Pokemon Direct, we got a regular Direct as well. It's been happening for 6 straight years now. It's inevitable. Like I said, it's inevitable as Thanos, man. It's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna happen this week. But what are we gonna see at this Direct? Nintendo's kind of in a weird spot right now where they could focus on showing us more Switch 2 information and more Switch 2 games, but that makes more sense for the April Direct, in my opinion, right? So I think that they're going to focus more on kind of like a send-off for the Switch 1 and kind of focus on titles that are going to be dropping fairly soon, because Switch 2 is probably coming out in late April, early May. So the window here, it's getting really small for this kind of final send-off of the Switch 1. And that kind of ties in with rumors that we've seen recently again, going back to PHBrazil. PHBrazil said at the end of January that the Switch is set to get one big final Nintendo game from a beloved and somewhat niche series. Now, this article kind of goes into it here and talks about rumors of a new Fire Emblem game, as seen right here, has been development, so this seems like a likely candidate. But as always, this is just a rumor. Now, I think they're going to go in a different direction, and I think there's 3 series that this could really cater to, because when you say beloved, that kind of ties in everything, but then you say this somewhat niche, that gets rid of everything right away, that kind of, a lot, not everything that ties into beloved, but a lot of the bigger names, obviously, like that takes out Mario, that takes out Zelda, that takes out Kirby, that takes out Donkey Kong, and I think it leaves us with F-Zero, Star Fox, and Kid Icarus. I'm going to say F-Zero is out of the running right away. I know F-Zero fans have been wanting a new game for years now, but it just doesn't feel like the timing's right on this one, because we saw our look at the next Mario Kart game for Switch 2, and I don't think Nintendo wants to release another racer, even, I don't want to say as a competitor, because let's be honest, Mario Kart truthfully has 0 competitors. They have an entire grip on this family car racing market, and they always will. It's going to be the biggest racing game in the world for probably as long as I live, and longer after that. Let's keep it real. But like, it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the time for F-Zero. Maybe, but I'm going to take it out of the running. And that leaves us with Star Fox, and that leaves us with Kid Icarus. Both of these, I think, are really, really possible to happen, because they're beloved and they're somewhat niche. I think Kid Icarus might be a little bit more likely, simply because there's a lot of people that have kind of grown up playing Kid Icarus Uprising, I believe it was. I'm sorry if I'm getting the name incorrect, but people played that game on the 3DS, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong again, but that's where I believe I'm correct with that. And they really love that experience. So I feel like that would encourage Nintendo maybe to go back in that direction. But I'm really pulling for a Star Fox game, man. I think they could do a lot of fun stuff with Star Fox and really breathe some fresh air into that franchise and give it the love that it deserves. And I know it has a pretty smaller, obviously, but big fan base that, I say smaller but big fan base, but a fan base that really cares about it. And that ties us into another rumor that we saw. This goes back to 2024, but people have been kind of relaunching talks about it in response to the rumor from PHBrazil that we're going to be getting a new Star Fox game, and it's been rumored for the launch of the Switch 2. That kind of doesn't tie in directly with our frame, like my frame of mind of this being kind of like a Switch 1 send-off title. But if it kind of ends up being this title that kind of maybe sends off Switch 1, but also is there kind of for the launch window of the Switch 2, I think that could work. And we've seen kind of that kind of happen in the past with games on different consoles, where it kind of is a send-off game for the console, but also a big launch title for the next console, if you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. But this kind of rumor is from somebody with a mixed track record, I believe. It kind of goes back to this. Somebody literally says they're nonsensical ramblings and other stuff. So I'm not too big on this rumor being, or this source ultimately being somebody to believe in, but like I said, I'm really pulling for another Star Fox game. I think it could be big. I think it could be a massive thing for the franchise, and it could be a really poetic send-off to Switch 1, because I feel like what Switch 1 did is really bring back like the OG Nintendo fans. It really was like almost like a rebirth for Nintendo in a way, where Nintendo always evolves and always brings us great games and great content every generation, but Switch 1 almost was like this thing that really took over the world by storm, and it has a chance to become the best selling console of all time. And I couldn't think of a better way to bring the end of the Switch than bring back a franchise and show it some love in the way that Nintendo can. But the other big thing we could talk about today is that we've recently seen a new patent drop for the Switch that is pretty interesting. And we got this article put up from IGN right now, and pretty much the patent shows or suggests, I would say shows, because we literally see we have a video of pretty much kind of showing this thing off that I'll show in a second, but it suggests that the Joy-Cons can be rotated and the console can be played upside down. So pretty much you'll be able to play your console, your Switch 2, in like whatever orientation you want. You could play it like regular facing straight up, or you could flip it upside down. And the reason why this kind of makes sense is because I want to see if they put it here in the article. I don't remember if they did. Here, they confirmed the addition of a second USB-C port. There's a USB-C port on the top of the Switch 2 and the bottom of the Switch 2. And that would let you kind of orient it whatever way you'd want that port to be, if that makes sense. Assuming that there's peripherals that get plugged into that port. So that could be an interesting thing that Nintendo could play around with. But I also think that this could lead us into Joy-Cons having different designs, because I don't know, obviously nobody knows yet, if by when they say that you could play the console upside down, if that also means that you could play it like right side up. I don't, kind of, stay with me here, but you could flip the Joy-Con upside down and kind of orient it like, let's say this is my left Joy-Con, right? But what if I wanted my left Joy-Con to be buttons on top? If that makes sense. I don't know, like, I don't know if you guys kind of get what I'm saying here, but like, this is your left Joy-Con, you connect it in the upside down. I feel like I'm losing you here, but I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is that I feel like it could be a thing where we could have differently like designed, maybe even like modular Joy-Cons, future, maybe not even first party but third party. I don't know, I feel like it just opens up the playing field for things like that. That's pretty much the point I'm trying to make here. We have this video right here obviously showing down this upside down functionality. You'll see this person, you take it out, you flip it, you put it on, and obviously you can literally see right here in the trailer it's upside down. So just an interesting thing. We'll see if it ends up really being a big part of the Switch 2. I don't know if it will. I think it's more so one of those things that they kind of add it, like I said, so you could choose where you want that USB-C port to be. We'll see if it ends up being something bigger, but Nintendo does have a track record of in the past making patents that really don't add up to anything. And I've got two pulled up right here. One of them being in 2019, we had this Nintendo patent of strange new bendy hinge Switch Joy-Con controllers, as seen by this image here. Obviously, this didn't end up being anything, but once again, it could have been an interesting thing for Nintendo to do. And this one, I'm not entirely sure if this was a patent, but I believe this was back from 2016. Yeah, first rumors of 2016 production emerged in late 2014. And this was a, they say patent, I don't even remember if this was officially patented. And this is showing a Nintendo Portable utilizing free-form screen technology. And these are the mock-ups, I guess, from that Nintendo patent portable. Obviously, we see the back here. So, like I said, maybe this patent doesn't end up being anything huge. Obviously, like we've seen here, Nintendo has a history of making patents that really don't add up into anything meaningful. But I hope it does. I mean, I think it could be a pretty cool thing for this system to do. That maybe doesn't really have anything bigger behind, like I said, letting you place that port wherever you want. But it could be interesting if that isn't all it does and there's something on top of that to go along with this in the future, but we'll see. And then the last two things I want to talk about today are really just small kind of news tidbits to kind of end off the video. And the first being that Marvel Rivals dev NetEase has already been in contact with Nintendo about Switch 2 apparently. Marvel Rivals is the biggest multiplayer game in the world right now, and I feel like it should be on Switch 2. I feel like it should be something we expect. But needless to say, this is cool. It's cool that we're probably going to see Marvel Rivals on Switch 2. Playing a game this big on the go is a cool thing to me. I don't know if it's something that I would personally do. I feel like it's a little bit harder to play these kind of games on the go because it's really about strategy and coordinate with the team and all that. But maybe, you know, this kind of game coming over to Switch 2, especially probably maybe on launch, could signify that Nintendo is looking to kind of increase their multiplayer online presence. That kind of thing's been suggested for the Switch 2 as a focus. And the last thing we have to look at is Hideki Kamiya, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, wants Nintendo to reboot Virtual Console for Switch 2. If you don't know him, he is, I believe, the creator of Okami and Bayonetta, and he wants Nintendo to reboot the service about for Switch 2 when asked about Switch 2 by IGN. And a Capcom producer also said the same thing as seen here. I think it could be interesting if Virtual Console came back. I'd be a fan of Virtual Console coming back. I don't know if others would be a fan of Virtual Console coming back. I think it would be an interesting thing for Nintendo to do, to say the least. So yeah, that was it, guys. I'm struggling that off this video here because I feel like we just went over so much information. But yeah, this was episode 1 of series working title name Joy-Con Journal, covering some Nintendo news on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys have any cool suggestions, leave them in the comments down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video we do.